All right, so people tend to postpone their investment decisions from one day to the next, believing that it makes little difference. Now, they tend to forget that time is money. In fact, time creates money. They do not really understand the power of compounding until they experience it, at which point it is too late to recover the lost time. And so today on The Money Show, we will discuss 5 investment decisions that you should not delay at any cost. Let's welcome on board Bharat Phatak, Director, Scripbox, and take this discussion forward. Bharat, good evening and welcome to the show. The investment involves a lot of decision making, but then let's talk about 5 crucial decisions that you should not delay at any cost, whatever be your investment journey. What's the first step coming from you?
Which I feel is having a financial advisor or a trusted person who will guide you through the investments. It need not necessarily be a person. It can also be from digital sources, but it is important to have somebody's experience who has seen the cycles, and delaying this decision can cost you financial objectives which are not clear, lack of expertise, missed opportunities. So I think advisor zaruri hai, and it is important that instead of trying everything on your own, the first foundation can be laid by having a good advisor, a certified financial advisor, or a certified mutual fund distributor on your side.
Okay, so the first point is one needs to have a financial planner or an advisor. But then one crucial aspect is how can you just trust someone with their money, Bharat? It's a very important selection that you have to do. And so what
Yes.
are the qualities that one should be keeping in mind, or maybe assessing, based on these factors? There's a lot of trust that's going to go into this person, right? What are the qualities that one should look at when finalizing a financial advisor or a planner?
I mean, most of the other decisions that we make are linear, whereas investment related, especially decisions related to appreciating assets, they tend to be cyclical. And I think it is important that you have somebody who has seen some cycles in this market. He has understood the ups and downs in the market. So they say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And somebody who can give you lessons from the history. Also, you can look at references, so that if your friends, if your relatives, they have found a trusted advisor who has helped them for 5, 10, 15 years, that is something which is useful.
Right. The next step coming from you is to buy life and health insurance. Very important.
Yes.
But then I think here, what you also need to guide our viewers with is the kind of right life insurance and the right health insurance.
Yeah. Absolutely right. The right kind of insurance is required, and delaying insurance is not a good idea because you never know when the unexpected hits you. So I think life insurance, accident insurance, and health insurance are the 3 main things that you should have. In life insurance, term insurance is a very practical approach, because you can get this insurance through composite products which combine investment and insurance also. But then the obligation to pay a much higher premium is what you sign up for. Instead of that, term insurance taken at young age can give you a very high cover. I mean, 1 crore cover may be available for even 15, 20,000 per year. So it may be like a cost of even ordering 1 pizza for a month. You can get a very large cover, 50 lakhs, 75 lakhs, 1 crore. So term insurance started at the early age. In case of health insurance, you need to see the family conditions, the various family floating covers which are available, and different members of your family who need that cover. So this will be useful in case of some elderly members are there in the family. And nowadays, what we find very useful are top up and super top up covers, because you may have a certain coverage under your employment. You may already have a policy which was taken 5-7 years ago, but now with inflation, the cost may go up. The new advances in medical field, the cost may go up, and you need not get a new policy. But you can say that if I already have a policy of 5 lakhs, I will take a new policy which is a top up, which will cover me up to 20 lakhs, but the first 5 lakhs will not be covered by this new top up policy. So these policies will turn out to be much cheaper than buying a larger policy for this purpose. So uh, uh, I think both these accounts are important. In case of accident insurance, you can
Yeah.
also see
So
if
I think the primary
yeah,
need is to get your life insurance and your health insurance right in the first place. The others can be
yeah,
added on later on in a portfolio. But then first step of financial planning is just, safeguarding your life and your family's life,
absolutely,
especially the ones
absolutely.
who are financially dependent on you. So that should be done. So do not forget to get a certified financial planner for yourself. And if you are someone who doesn't have your life insurance, health insurance in place, do that before you start your investment process. What's the
Yeah.
third tip coming from you, Bharat?
Setting up an emergency fund. So don't delay it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, typically it's a good idea to have 6 months to 1 year of expenses
What
in
exactly is
an
an
emergency
emergency
fund.
fund? Let's break
Yeah.
this down further. What exactly is an emergency fund?
So suddenly some unexpected expenses may come up.
Hmm.
So unexpected guests, unexpected illness, change of job. These are typical things which can confront you. And in that case, if you are covered for 6 to 9 or 6 to 12 months of your monthly expenses, it will give you a cushion to handle these variable situations in your life, the unexpected ones. If you don't have a, if you delay creating an emergency fund, it may force you to borrow. And I think that is something which one can definitely avoid. It gives you a lot of peace of mind.
But then, when we talk about creating an emergency fund, what is the kind of investment that's needed from you, and what's the amount that one should actually make sure that as a corpus they have collected it as as an emergency fund, as a contingency fund, and where can you invest for it?
Right. So corpus, I said at least 6 months, but ideally 12 months of your monthly expenses. That can be the corpus for your emergency fund, and this has to be liquid. It must be, you must be able to access it as fast as possible. So you can look at bank deposits, or you can look at uh, even liquid funds, overnight funds, to take care of your emergency needs.
Okay, and so when we talk about liquid funds, what's the kind of route that we should be adopting, a lump sum investment or an SIP, and what is the interest that we can earn on it, and how can we earn on it?
So one can build this up ideally in one shot, but if not possible, you can build it up over the next 6 months by putting in an SIP. And the kind of return that you get is not really the important criteria. But nowadays, you are getting 6.5%, 6%, or even in some cases 6.75% kind of return, even on liquid funds. But this will keep going up and down. So when the interest rates are low, you will get a 4-5% return on liquid funds. But returns is not the reason you are buying it. You are buying it for uh, having the access to funds in a liquid situation whenever the emergency arises.
Question that often a lot of viewers keep asking us is I mean, if I have a proper life insurance, okay,
Right. Right.
if we have our investments in place, we have our health insurance in place, we have credit cards, why do we really need an emergency fund?
So see, credit cards, if you just delay your payment, you are paying close to 25%, 30% of rate of interest when you actually have to pay in installments. So that is one of the reasons not using a credit card beyond 30, 40 days, which is the credit limit which is available. That is important. In many cases, the health insurance that cashless facility may not be available when the need arises. And having this cushion will definitely be beneficial. And I think it gives you a peace of mind to have those expenses, knowing that you can handle these variances in life.
Bharat, now next tip coming from you is about saving for your retirement. So thinking of your retirement goal very early in your age doesn't come naturally, which is why one needs to consciously make a decision for that. But how do you go ahead? How do you assess what will be the corpus required, 30 years, 40 years down the line if someone is in their 20s and maybe want to just have a goal-based strategy? It's quite difficult to analyze and think about the retirement phase at that particular age.
Right. So actually, I'll take this in two stages. One is this is where the first point which we made, that having a planner or an advisor who will help you in making these projections. So that is point number one. Point number two is there will be a different criteria based on which this retirement planning can be done. First will be the age at which you would want to have a freedom to retire. So it doesn't mean that you actually retire at that age, but you have the independence to say that my portfolio can take care of me, and I can choose the work rather than being forced to do whatever work comes my way. And here, if somebody says that today my age is 30 and I want to have this financial freedom by the age of 50, then it is possible to look at the past and make a projection of what kind of returns equity will give me, what kind of returns debt will give me, and at what rate my expenses will go up. I'll also have to factor in the lifestyle upgrade which will happen over the next 15-20 years. And I think there is a complexity involved, and this is where your advisor or your distributor will be of help.
All right. The last tip is have a portfolio which has diversified strategy.
Yeah. So conventional wisdom says don't put all your eggs in the same basket. And I think the same holds true in case of your investment portfolio also. So one of the things is my short-term needs, medium-term needs, long-term needs will require different instruments. My short-term needs, as we discussed, the emergency fund, will have to be in simple and liquid income-earning investments. The medium-term can go into bonds, but over the long run, I will need to put money in appreciating assets. Within that, my choice is equity or equity mutual funds. But people will also look at gold, people will look at real estate. So these are appreciating assets. And all these also go through cycles. So allocating to different asset classes who move in little different directions. So the correlation between gold and equity could be low. Correlation between real estate and gold could be low. And based on this, my portfolio becomes much more stable if I put money in different asset classes. That is one. Also, hand in hand comes the question of rebalancing. One asset class which does very well, at the same time the other asset class may not do well. And if I rebalance my allocation at that time, it will help me harvest the gains in the asset which has done well, and also buy something which is little out of favor. So I think diversification across uncorrelated asset classes is important, and this is all the more important for long-term goals. But even for short-term goals, if you are putting money in any credit risk type of situations, then it is important to diversify and not put all your eggs in the same basket.
Sure. Thank you so much for being on the show and helping our viewers with the decisions that should not be delayed in their entire investment process.
Thank you so much.
On that